Hello, hope you're doing well today. Today we're jumping into Dune Awakening and going over some tips and tricks that you need to get started in Dune. Alright, so one of the first things that may be a question is this giant apex storm that comes every Tuesday. Alright, so every Tuesday at whatever time they restart the servers. But the apex storm really only affects the deep desert. So if you're in the Hago Basin area, so like the south, the Vermilia's Gap, West Vermilia's Gap, and any other area in the Hago Basin, you are the apex storm has really no effect on you. It's only for the deep desert. So whether you're in the deep desert or the Hago Basin, you'll have this effect: reduced visibility. We're gonna have some wind and stuff. So we know the storm's approaching, but it doesn't really have much of an effect, other than, you know, maybe less visibility. Right, but the main thing that this storm is for deleting all the bases that have been set up in the deep desert. Right, and then when then that doesn't happen until the server shuts down. Alright, so this all happens offline. Basically, it's the lore, kind of creating a lore and a reason for servers to, for the bases to be destroyed, other than saying, no, we're just doing it for balancing purposes. Alright, and then the deep desert changes. The resource locations and stuff will change. And then you can, and then you have to refine everything and resurvey. And they're saying that the resources might change in the Hago Basin as well. We'll see tomorrow when the servers come back up if the resource locations have changed in the Hago Basin. They did put out a post that sounded like that, but you know, just in case I misread it or something. Oh, grenade. So the majority of players, this will have no effect on you when you're first starting out. It's only going to be a late game issue to worry about, but if you do have bases in the desert, just keep that in mind. You empty them out, get everything you want out of them before the servers restart on Tuesdays. And they may change the day. Right now it's going to be on Tuesday mornings when the server restarts, so you'll always have an in-game warning letting you know. Alright, when you're first starting out, another thing, you're going to be trying to wonder where you get water at. Basically the game will take you through the tutorial. They'll still teach you that, but just in case you want to know, you can get blood extractors. And you come up to dead bodies and you just hit them with it. You can use the aim button or the attack button, either way, and it'll let you extract their blood. Better extractors give you more blood. And there's even an awesome weapon in the game that drains their blood as well when you're fighting with them. It's this dagger called Calif's Drinker. So I'm sure there's more than just this one, but this is the starting one. You can get this right out the gate. Alright, and when you kill somebody with it, or you even hit them, you start draining their blood. So this lets you double up on the amount of blood you can carry on you. Now, in order to carry blood, of course, you have to have blood packs. And the game will walk you through that, and it'll teach you how to create blood packs. And then it'll tell you about the refinery process. And so the tutorial will walk you through most of that, so we won't get into it too deeply. Alright, another thing, when we're dealing with water, you can get the canteens that store water. There's actually one, this is the one you can end up crafting going once you leveled up enough, but you can get one. Now, you can get the schematic for crafting the water one that carries 1500, right? And it goes in here into your crafting things under uniques, and you can only craft one for each one you get. So these are like crafting permits, not blueprints. So you have to have a permit to craft it. So then you have to go back and get another permit if you want to craft another one. In Hago Basin South, where you start, right, and just in this region over here near the east side. So you can see this little cluster here. Wish there were coordinates, but yeah, it's the cluster just south of the wreck of the Alcyon. The wreck of the Alcyon. I'm not great at pronouncing these things. Anyway, just south of there, and you'll see this hill with this little box on top. Right, and on the map, that's how you identify which hill it is. You just climb up this, and it's on top in a box. It's trapped as well, so watch for the let the thing explode before you pick up the box so you don't get hurt. Alright, so what about Calif's Drinker? We talked about how it's a good knife, and you can see it does 10 damage. So Calif's Drinker, while you can craft it right off the bat early game, it does as much damage as a later game sword, like kind of mid-game sword. So it's really good, and it'll carry you through even mid-game in Dune. So it's a great one to grab first. And where you can find it is Hago Basin South, or in the wreck of the Alcyon. Right, it's just in here. Go through the ship. You'll run as you clear the ship and go through There's not a huge ship, it's not a huge area. You'll find it right where you get the wristwatch to walk through a door. Alright, and so we talked about permits, right? The crafting blueprint. So the Caliph drinker, for instance. Alright, if you find one of these, you need to go into a water, you need to be water sealed, so you need to go into a base that's closed up. Alright, and get the water sealed buff. Or you need to go to a trade post. Alright, once you're in a trade post, you can also use these here as well. So once you're in the correct area, you can come in and you can research the schematic. Alright, you gotta hold it down and it'll ask you if you want to research it, and it will consume the permit when you research it. But now I have it. Now if I go to research and click on the stars here for unique, you can see I have 2 Caliph drinkers. I can craft 2 of these now. And then I can go sell these on the marketplace. If you get multiple copies and you just want to recraft them and go sell them, you can do that as well. It'll be quite a while into the game before you get the repair station to let you repair it, so you may want to have a couple of extra permits in case you break yours. Alright, so eventually you'll get a quest that'll give you the ability to craft stillsuits. Alright, and we'll go ahead and equip these and show you what they are. Right, now they got my stillsuit equipped. If you notice next to my water bar on the HUD, there is a second water bar to the left of it. Alright, what this is as we drink water, we also pee water. So our suit collects the pee, so we just pee in our pants, I guess, and it collects it. And then it fills up our reservoir, it filters it and fills up our reservoir. So now we have the second bar of water there is our pee water. So our reclaimed water for all you people from Florida. Well, anyway, so to drink it, you can hit left on the D-pad if you're on a controller, or F on the keyboard. It'll pretty much tell you in the HUD, so that's nice. So I can go ahead and take a drink. As you can see, it'll start filling up my bar over here. So it's just another way of having a little extra water being created for you. It's really nice to have one of these suits if you're going to be traveling a really long distance through the desert. That way you don't have to carry a bunch of water canteens on you, taking up inventory slots, because if you notice, you only get 35 inventory slots. And you can only carry 175 pounds. So the only real issue with the suits is they provide less armor, but until you're in really late game, armor doesn't make a huge difference in combat. It's not enough of a difference right now. Maybe they'll balance this out later. Right now, armor is not balanced very well. But I have plenty of canteens, and I don't mind just using those to drink water. I'm used to that from Ark anyway. And I like the way this outfit looks, so that's why I wear this around. What's really going to give you damage mitigation the best is going to be once you're high enough level to get a shield, and that's probably not something you're going to worry about in the beginning. But once you do get access to a shield, you can just hit left D-pad to turn it on. I want to say it's H on the keyboard to turn it on and off. And if it helps, it only uses battery charge when it's being hit. Alright, so we'll show you real quick. You equip batteries over here, right? And they have a chart, and they have a durability on them. And they also have a regen per second and a power pool. What this means, the power pool is basically how much power can they use before they have to recharge or regen. And the regen per second, they gain 12 points per second up to 150. All right, so it can take them a little bit of time to fully recharge. All right, as you drain the battery from its power pool from 150 down to 0, or just use even if down to 149 and let it go back up, you're slowly damaging the durability as well. So when the durability hits 0, the battery breaks, but the battery doesn't actually run out of power after be swapped out every time its power pool is gone. So that's really nice. That's something that's not explained well in the game. So I thought I'd point that out here so you're not confused. I'm getting hit. So as you see, below my health bar is a power bar. As I take damage, my that power goes down. So I'm using that's my battery pack. That's its charge of 150. Anything that uses power will drain that bar, not just the shield. But as the shield takes damage, it starts draining that bar. And when that bar hits 0, my shield will stop working until it recharges. Right, if you use this shield while you're out where the death worms are, it will attract them. Alright, another thing you'll notice, you'll probably figure this out pretty quickly, but we'll go ahead and tell you. If you need to heal, you need to make sure you're somewhere where you're not going to take damage. And then you can use your bandage or health kit, and you have to be uninterrupted the entire animation process for it to work. Otherwise, it will get if it gets interrupted, you can walk around, you can't dodge, and other things like that. And if you get hit and interrupts it, it'll cancel you getting healed. So when it comes to mining in this game, you'll be given cutters, all right, and you just equip them, and you go up and you can just sit there and zap something and gain resources a little at a time doing it this way. But you're better off, as you can see, I got 13 by doing it like that. That's the most inefficient way to mine with these, though. Not only does it drain your battery down and so the durability on your battery and your tool are going down, you're getting less resources than if you had scanned it. So hit your aim button, it scans, find the blue line it creates, and trace that blue line, which is probably easier to do with a mouse than it is with a controller, but yeah, there you go. You trace it, and there you get more from it. So I got 53 from that. Of course, different tools have different efficiencies, so they can get certain resources better than other tools. Alright, so if you watch on the right side of my screen when I farm this, alright, you see I got salvage metal good efficiency. Alright, so this tool gets good efficiency for that. So it kind of tells you. You can also look at it, right, and you can see for iron I get a 48 score, for carbon I get a 45, and for copper, granite, and salvage metal I get a 72. So the higher those numbers are, the better it is at farming those. Right, what about at base when you first start out? Well, don't worry about it. You do need to build a base for the quests and stuff, but it is real simple. Pop down and however many foundations it tells you for the first quest. And then for any base after that, I would just go 4 foundations, a couple of chests, a couple of crafting stations, whatever you need. Only craft what you need to get your quest and to get your gear for the next location and keep moving. Alright, well this one may not be a beginner tip, it's kind of an advanced tip. I figure we go ahead and get into it. On containers, and on storage containers and crafting benches, you can go into them. Alright, access them and go over to storage. And at the top right, you'll see circuits. But you have circuits 1 through 8. And what these does is basically it says that the input, it's input, output. I guess we should clear that up first. Input, output. Right, and these circuits, or input and output, basically means it can only pull from whatever is the circuit. So it'll pull from everything that's labeled circuit 1. I'll put this circuit 8, it'll only pull from containers that are labeled circuit 8. And if I change the output to circuit 5, circuit 5, it will change it will only, then only other equipment that uses circuit 5 will pull from inside the storage from this. So as you can see, this refinery has 5 storage slots. So I can just leave my refined material on here if I wanted and let it and pull from it. Right, for a solo player, leaving everything on circuit 1 is probably fine. If you're with a group, this is where it becomes more useful. Alright, so when using the build tool and placing something, there is an arrow on them that's important. Alright, the arrow is telling you which direction that the console is on and is facing. And this is important. You don't want to take this and go shove this console against the wall. Alright, let me show you why. So we'll place it and build it. Alright, so now the console is facing the wall. And if you notice, I can't just walk up and use this. It doesn't have a big box around it that says when I'm in this area, I can just activate it. You have to have that box, the collision box that you enter that tells you can use the object, is around the console. So you have to, so then I would have to come around here and like press into this and try and get access to this console. Whereas like these are set up, I can just access the console from here. Alright, so always make sure the console is facing the direction you want for accessing it correctly. With that said, you notice I put this down, all my consoles turned red, not green. That means I've used more power, this base is using more power than I have provided for it. So if I come in and look, we can see, we go into general settings, we can see we have 185 power being used versus 150 being produced, so nothing will work until we get our 150 up to 185. So we'll need to drop another generator of another power source of some kind. Now, if you do find that you've placed a structure wrong, alright, or not the way you want to, you can pull out your build tool, right, and then on the right side you'll see instructions. It tells you what what you can do there. If you're using the controller, at least the Xbox controller, right stick down, lets you cycle through the different options, right? We have build, place, piece picker, move, repair, demolish. With the mouse and keyboard, it looks like it's right click to switch through them. Right, and so what you'd want to go to is move. And this will allow you to go up, and on the Xbox controller I would hit X. On the keyboard and mouse I would hit the left click to pick it up. Right, now that we've picked it up, we can decide where we want it. Just pick it up and move it. And there you go. It's now placed. Right, now you can't move, for some reason you can't move walls and ceilings right now. But you can just demolish them, so you can just move to the demolish, and then you could highlight them and then demolish it and get your resources back, and then rebuild it somewhere else. So that's not a big deal. Alright, and then water cisterns, once you get access to them, they're a little weird. Once you place them, they don't seem to ever get water or fill up, and it's like you have to use a canteen to move water from one object to another. But once your units, your purifiers, are actually full of water and they can't get any more water, but they still have blood in them, then it starts moving the water from the purifier. As it turns the blood into water, it starts moving them into the cistern, and that's how this starts to fill up. Alright, it's finally daytime. Let's go and talk to you about how this works. This mostly, the mechanic is... So, like this mechanic that I'm going to talk to you about now, I'm going to be leaving a lot of these mechanics out of this guide because they're going to go over them in the tutorial. And there's no reason to tell you something that's in the tutorial, but this is an important one, so just in case, yeah, you step out into the sun. Alright, you're out in the sun like this. You can see that in the middle of my screen, there's a bar building up, has the sun symbol on it. Alright, when that gets full, I will be considered overheated or I've been in the sun for too long. So you can't be in the sun for very long. So you want to do a lot of your big on-foot movement activities that are not going to be, they're going to be out across the desert and stuff during the night rather than during the day. So this doesn't happen to you. So once I become overheated like this, the only real thing that happens is my water starts to drain faster. Alright, so, and that's the problem, right? Once your water runs out, you start to die. So you don't want your water running out. So if you have plenty of water, you can handle the drain, the heat's no big deal. Alright, all you gotta do though is get back into the shadows, stay in the shadows, and it immediately starts draining. It's really easy to get rid of. And once it drains all the way, you go back to being fine, and your water drain goes back to normal. But as you can see, it drained quite a bit of water in just a short period of time talking to you, so it will be a fast drain. And if you go around with an open mic, apparently you can be seen. I don't know how that works in PvP, so keep that in mind as well. Don't have an open mic, have push to talk or something like that. That way players can't always see where you are. Just in case, it helps them in PvP knowing where you are. I'm not sure if that actually... I've not seen one of the open mic in PvP before, so I don't know. That will happen, but... Of course, is there anything you're struggling with or have questions about in the game? Go ahead and hit me up in the comments here, or hop in the Discord and ask a question there, and I'll get back to you with an answer as soon as I can, or maybe, hopefully, someone from the community will answer you as well if I can't get back to you quick enough. Alright, so one thing besides, dying that water is important for is the more hydrated you are, the more stamina you have access to. Alright, so there are trade posts throughout the game, and if you follow the quest, you'll find one. And when you go into the trade post, there are these people standing here. Alright, you can see their little ornithopter behind them. You can talk to them.
Can I fly you somewhere today?
And they'll fly you somewhere for a price. So I want you to fly me somewhere. You can ask to go to several places. And this is how you get to the cities. Alright, so this is where the advanced trainers and stuff are going to be, or in the cities, and your bank and things where you can store your money. Now, while we're at the 5 console, another thing you need to be doing at these bases is come in and use them. You need to go over to on their base details here, set as respawn location. I don't know why this isn't on by default. This should be on by default, but it isn't, so make sure you go into these and turn them on. Alright, now that that's clicked, if I die, I can respawn at the base if I wanted to. Alright, so you equip a respawn beacon once you've made it. Take it wherever you're at and you want to put it down. Just place it like just pretty much any other building piece. Right, and now you can respawn here. And then when you're done and you want to leave the area, you don't think you're going to need the respawn point anymore, you can pick it up. So the next thing is making the speeder bike. So once you've crafted all the pieces of the speeder bike, you may be like, well, how do I put it together? The game does not explain this, or at least not very well, or that I saw, so it was a little bit confusing. So what you have to do is you need to make a welding tool. Alright, and then we equip our welding tool, and it works just like any building at that point. Equip it, pull it out, the symbol is the first option there on the right, and so then you would just, if you had the parts in your inventory, they would pop up on the screen. Alright, and if you had any parts to assemble in your inventory, it'll let you assemble them. You just pop them together. Okay, so if we go into the repair option on the welding torch, we can go look at our vehicle, and we can aim at different parts, and it will tell us how repair or broken it is. So as we repair it, you notice that red line on the outer circle got a little bit bigger. Alright, so basically as we increase its repair, it loses durability. So there's a finite amount of times we will be able to repair our vehicle. Alright, once you have a speeder bike, now this one's really bad shape because I just claimed it from some raiders, but once you have a speeder bike, alright, when you get on it, you can go in the sun all you want. As long as you're on the speeder bike, you're considered sheltered. To a point. I don't think you're sheltered from sandstorms, but you are considered sheltered from the sun. So you can always use your speeder bike if you need to cross expanses when you're out during the day, so that you don't have issues from the sun. Alright, and still loot for you when you're out in the world looting. Right, so you come up to something like this, a box that has the loot in it. You take that loot, it takes about 40-45 minutes for it to respawn. Unless you're in a PvP zone. If you're in a PvP zone, these loot crates and stuff that are spread around in the PvP areas will have a 20-minute respawn timer. Alright, but the way the loot works is a little different though. So if I walk up to this and I loot this, another player can walk up and loot the same thing. Alright, so in a PvE zone, they can all loot the same thing. So I'll come in here and we can all take that. This was a PvP zone and I looted that, and now I'm the only one that gets that. Alright, and this will be empty for the next 20 minutes. So then if a player wants what was in there, they'll have to kill me to take it. Alright, on the subject of respawn timers, ores really don't seem to be on a very long respawn timer. I want to say 10 minutes. Could be as short as 5. I know if I check every 10 minutes, they're back. So if I pick an area that I like the resources in, I can just hit all the resources that are there, come back in 10 minutes and hit them again. So it just lets me do a loop. And yeah, so just a very small loop near my base wherever I set up, and I can get all the resources I need. Alright, if you want to attach a front sensor on the sand bikes, basically they just kind of tell you where the resources are in front of the sand bike. So your scanners is basically when you hit them, it's this, and I did the camera change. Okay, anyway, any resources within that scan will pop up and let you know where they are, so you don't have to open a map to check where those resources are once you're close to the area where you saw the resources on the map that you wanted. Alright, another thing that's a little confusing, so I want to go ahead and get it out there for you in this video, is the intel in the game. You can go around and you can find different buildings like this. It says has intel here with these house marks. Right, you'll find these all over the map. This is not intel you go get that you can like trade later or turn in or get a contract for. What this is you're picking up crafting points, right? So your research tab where you learn how to craft something is controlled by intel points. So you can go out, pick these up in the world. So it's a quick way of getting a few extra intel points without having to constantly increase your level. Like the beginning zone, Haga Basin, everything in here, all the intel in here is worth like 1 intel point. And then when you get up into the Vermilion Gap, you start getting into 5 intel points. Then when you get to where these slavers are, all right, everything becomes worth 10 intel points. All right, so something else that's not explained well in the game is going to be the vehicle backup tool. And what this allows you to do is store a light vehicle, either a scout ornithopter or your sand bike. Right, and I said or, you can't store both, and you can't store 2 sand bikes. You can't store 2 ornithopters and so on and so forth. You can only store 1 vehicle total ever with the backup tool. At least that's the way it is now. They may change it. There's also a glitch with the backup tool, which we'll go over in just a second. So once you store it, okay, now it's stored. Now, the cool thing is, Once you've stored it, it's not attached to the backup tool, which you would think would be the better way to do it, attaches the backup tool. And if I lose the backup tool, now I've lost the vehicle, but it actually stores the backup to like some kind of cloud you're attached to, and the tool is just how you get it out. Okay, so if you do lose the tool, so you say you get eaten by a sandworm or whatever happens, you lose the tool, you can just create a new one and you can still pull your sand bike back out. So you won't lose your sand bike if it's in the tool, or your ornithopter, or so on. So the tool is really good, especially if you think you're in an area where you might die and lose your vehicle. Now, one thing that does happen is sometimes you have a vehicle in your backup tool, and for some reason you cannot get your vehicle out of it. When that happens, you just throw that tool on the ground, get rid of it, recycle it, whatever, and go make a new tool. Right, the new tool will allow you to pull out the bike or the ornithopter, and that's how you get around that little glitch. Right, I hope these tips help you get started in Dune, and if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.